heard this song on Sirius a couple weeks ago, and I forgot how cool the outro solo was. And so I looked it up. There's not a lot of information on this song online. And the tabs that I did find, it looked like maybe it was one tab that got propagated to a number of different sites. It was, I'll just say, not correct. Obviously not correct. And so this was one of those songs I had to sit down and really listen note for note over the whole thing and see how it was played. Usually you can find a tab and it'll give you the bulk of how things are played. Maybe there's certain things that you have to, when you listen to the track versus the tab, you're like, that's not quite right. In this case, I just decided to do it from scratch. So one of the things, it's in B flat minor, the original song. After starting to learn it, it became pretty obvious to me that the person probably was tuned down half a step. So that essentially from the player's point of view, it looks like B minor. That's the way I have it. That's the way I'm teaching it on here. And so tune accordingly if you're following along. The last thing I want to say is that what was really interesting about learning this song was, unlike a lot of other solos I learned where you put a lot of time into figuring it out and learning it and playing it, and by the end, sometimes maybe the song loses its luster because you've just gone too deep into it. This was one that the deeper I went into that outro solo, the more I fell in love with this song. Like, I've heard this song all my life, and I liked it. It was on the radio. It's a cool tune. But the more I learned the guitar in this song, like, I will forever have new respect for this song because of the guitar playing on it. It sounds largely improvised. It has that early 80s kind of Steve Lukather studio musician sound to it. I love that era of guitar where they were throwing solos and pop music, and great era. If you like this song going in and you've always been intrigued by learning this solo, I encourage you to learn it. It's pretty fascinating. It's challenging. It's a very challenging solo to learn. And transcribing it was very hard because it was largely improvised, and transcribing improvised solos is extremely more difficult than something maybe logically put together by a player to sound a certain way, because there's a lot of experimentation going on when people are improvising, and they try things that, don't always seem logical. And so in this case, though, the whole thing just works together. It comes together and it sounds great. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. The chorus is pretty straightforward. You start on the D string on the 5th fret, and you slide up 7 to 9, and then you hit on the G string, the 7th, on the B string, the 8th. So you have back to the 9th on the D, and then 7, 9. The pattern sounds like this. Then you hold that and do it again. And then on the third time. And for the first chorus, it ends like this. It does this little, which is bending up on the 9th on the A, a half step, doing a pull off to the 7th 2 times, and sliding it down. That's the end of the first chorus. The second chorus, before the solo, it does the same thing. That one holds there, and then they layer on 2 additional notes. The 12th on the E, that high E note, and then there's also a harmonic on the 5th on the E, which is either played there, or you can play it on the 9th on the G with the pinch harmonic. So you got to pick one of those because they layer 3 of them just right before the solo. I normally just hit the 9th or try and hit that harmonic. And then finally, for the last chorus, the third chorus, right before it goes into the interlude and the outro, it doesn't cut it short like the other two do. The other two go like this. Right? This one does the full third riff. So, and then goes, so a little bend on the 7th fret of the A and slides down to the 2nd. So, and that's where the interlude starts. So all 3 choruses are totally identical except for how they transition into the next section. Pretty simple. Okay, part 1 starts out in the 7th position, kind of the B minor blues scale, which is basically the pentatonic with 2 extra notes. 8th on the A string and 10th on the G. So it starts out with 9th on the A string, 7th on the G, and then 9th on the D. 9th on the A, 11th on the G, bend that up a step and a half, and then the 9th. So then we have this blues lick, which is the blues scale. So it starts on the 7th on the G, bend up on the 9th on the G, and then you're going to walk that scale down from the 7th on the E string down to the 9th on the D, and then you're going to do a bend on the 9th on the G, and go to the 7th. So the first part sounds like this. And then it goes, skips the string entirely and does 9, 8, 7, and then 10, 7 on the E. So 9, 8, 7 on the A, and then 10, 7 on the E. If you don't want to use the pinky, you can slide it down to the 5th. So then we go up to the 19th on the B string, crank that up a step and a half, and then we're going to do, which is on the B string 15, 14, and then on the G string 16, 14, 16. So, and then hit that again and give it some whammy. So you can give it, dive bomb it a little bit, do all that. And then we're going to do this tremolo picking, which is so we're just running right up this B minor scale. You can either start on the 16th of the G or the 12th of the B, and then 14, 15, 17 on the B, and then on the E, just go hit the 17, give it some whammy. And that's kind of paused at the end there. It kind of goes like, so that's part 1 of the extended version solo. I'll play it all together so you can kind of hear it. Part 2 of the extended version solo, we ended on the 17th fret of the E string. And we're going to take that and we're going to bend it up a whole step. Give it some vibe, and then bend it up 2 whole steps. And come back down to the 14th on the E. And then we go have this. So that's 14, 15 on the B, and back down. And then 16, 14 on the G. Back to 16, and then slide down to the 9. Give it some little bend. Go 7, then 9, 7 on the D as well. And then slide down to the 2nd fret of the D string. So it's... And then we have this really sweet run, which is in the 19th position. You're going to do the 19th fret on the G string. I'm going to play it real slow actually first. So 19th on the G, skip a string and do 21, 19 on the E. And then for the B and G string, we're going to do 22, 21, 19. So up till that point we have. And then we're going to do 21, 19, 18 on the D. Go slide down to the 16th of the D. Go up to the 16th on the G. Skip a string, and then do 19, 17 on the A. And end on the 19th of the E. So I'm going to play this real slow. It's kind of a dive bomb or slide on that last note, whatever you want. So it's... So part 2 altogether is... So the interlude is right after the chorus. So just to refresh your memory, it goes... So just 7 to 9 on the D. Hold that on the album, he gets a bunch of feedback. Slide it down, and then do 7 to 9 again on the D. And then go to 14th on the G. And then the solo starts on the 15th. The outro solo starts on the 15th of the B. So, again. Part 1 of the outro solo starts with that dive bomb on the 15th fret of the B string. Then we're going to go to the 7th on the E string. And then we have this. Which is 9 on the A, 7 on the G, you're skipping a string, and then 9 on the D. Back to the 9 on the A, back to the 7 again, 7, 6, back to the 9 on the D. Basically, you're doing it twice with a little variation. So then we have this. all pentatonic with the exception of you're using the 9th fret on the E instead of the 10th. So on the G string, you're going to do a pull off from the 9th to the 7th. Go to the 9th on the D. Skip a string, do 10, 7 on the B. And then 9, 7 on the E. Back to the 10 on the B. And then on the G string, bend up on the 9th. Down to the 7. 9 on the D. 7 on the G. Bend up on the 9th. So okay, now here comes a super sick lick. I love this one. So you're bent up there on the 9th. Then it's going to sound like this. So you're bent up on the 9th, and then as you release, you're going to slide up. This is a hard one to explain. So you're bent up, and then you're going to, as you release, you're going to slide up to the 11th fret, and this is on the G string. You're going to bar it, hit the 11th on the B, and then the 12th on the E. So it starts out from that 12th on the E, you slide down to the 11th. So, and then on the G string, you're going to slide down from the 11 to the 9. I gotta think about this. So, so 11, you slide down to 9 and slide back to the 11. So up to that point with this. And then you're back to the 11th on the E and slide down to the 9. And skip a string again. And you're going to go 9 on the G, slide up to the 11. And then 9 on the E, slide down to the 7. So that was a lot. You're skipping, main point, you're skipping the B string altogether. And you're doing stuff just on the G and the E. I'm going to play it real slow. We'll go through the frets again. Bend up, slide up to the 11, bar it, 11 on the B, 12 on the E, slide down to the 11th, 9 or 11 on the G, slide down to the 9 and back up. 11 on the E, slide down to the 9, 9, 11 on the G, and then 9, 7 on the E. So up till that point we have this. Part 3 of the outro is pretty buried in the mix, and I came up with ways to connect the notes that you can't hear with the ones that you can, so I think it approximates it fairly well. The scale that we're going to be using, I believe this is a Dorian mode, but the scale is, just to show you all the notes that will be in the scale, 12, 10, 9 on the E, same on the B, 12, 10, 9, 11, 9 on the G, and then on the D and the A, 12, 11, 9. Okay, so let's break down each part. There's a lot of notes in here, and they jump around. There's a lot of patterns. So I'm going to go through it once, and then I'm just going to play it a few times slowly so that you can figure it out. But it's starting on the 12th on the D, 11 on the G, and then we're going to, from there, hit that again and then climb up to the 12th on the B. So, and then we're going to do this pattern. Which exact notes those scaled, but the pattern is like 9, 10, and then go lower to 11 on the G. Go back to the 9. So you're going one lower each time, going back up one lower, going back up one lower, going back up one. So you get to the 12th and then on the D and the 9th on the G. So up to that point we have this. And then we're going to do this, which is 12, 11, 9, and then 12, 11 on the A. Again, we're just using notes in that scale that we defined up front. So up to that point we have this. And then from here, we're going to do so from here we're going to do 12 and then 9, 12 on the D, 9, 11 on the G. Up to that point we have this. And then we're just going to run down that scale. That's the only part where we're kind of skipping notes. So we're just going to run down the scale. So 12, 11, 9 on both the D and the G. So up to that point we have this. All right, that was a lot. So before we go further, I'm going to do that really slowly. One more time. And then this last part sounds like this. So that's 9 to the 11 on the G. Hit the 11 twice. Again, this is just on that same scale. 12 on the D, and then hit 9 on the G twice. So we have and then this one. So 11, 12, 11, 9, 11, 12 on the A, and end on the 9 on the D. So and you could really do a number of things there as long as you start in the right place and end in the right place. You could do as long as you could do some variation there. That's a piece of it that's pretty muddied. but I like the sound of that though. So this whole part together would be this. Part 4 starts out 22nd fret on the B string, do a bend, and then pull off to the 19th, and then 21st on the G. So you're that pattern. It goes like this. And then bend up 2 whole steps. And then this crazy thing, 22nd on the G, 19th on the B, and 22nd on the B. So that pattern, and then just go down 1 fret at a time. And end on the 16th of the G string. So, and you don't have to do necessarily like that pattern, you could do it the opposite. Or do hammer and pull off. Whatever, it's just ripped. So there's no defined pattern other than that those are the notes and he's going on 1 fret at a time. So something like that. You get the point. You could also do it on the first string. And then in this case, you would do 13, 14, 17. And then some kind of pattern where you do like, 13, 16, and there, so. Doesn't matter. Whatever works for you. Just pick your pattern that, with those ideas, pick a pattern that you can do kind of consistently and just rip it. It'll sound good. It's a chromatic shred. It just sounds gnarly and cool no matter what you do. Part 5 is just slide up to the 9th on the A. And then you're doing 7th fret on the G and the B string. And then 9th on the D. Part 6, we're back in the 14th position. Starts off with the 16th fret on the G, and then 15, 14 on the B, back down to 16th on the G. And then jump up to 17th on the B, down to 15th. And then we have this, which is 15th on the B, and then 16, 14 on the G, 16 on the D, and then 14, 16 on the B, or on the G. So it's the timing's a little bit weird with it, but it's like this. And then it ends, if you go down to the 10th position, and we're going to use the 10, 12, and 14th fret on the B and the E string straight out. So we're just going to run up from the B to the E. Again, that's 10, 12, and 14. And then we're going to do the 10, 12, 14 again on the E. So. And then we're going to do 10, 12, 13, and go back down. And then 12 on the B string. So it sounds like this. part is like this. So part 7, the beginning of it's kind of buried in the mix again. There's just some kind of chunky stuff that's happening. And I usually do some on that B minor pentatonic again, do something like... So that's just 7th and 9th fret going up from the A string. 7, 9 again on the D. Then you go into the 7 on the G. Something like that. It's got a weird kind of vibe to it. You can listen to it, but those are the notes. So it's like and then it goes into another one of these like... So you're starting out again in that position, climbing up the pentatonic. And then when you get to the G string, you're going to kind of go 2 frets, you know, that 7, 11, or 7, 9, 6, 8, 5, 7, that kind of pattern. 4, 6, 3, 5, and then, you know, 4, 2, 1. And then there's this like, which is like 1, 2, and then 4 on the G. Do it again. 1, and then 2, slide up to 4 on the G. On the D. Again, this isn't exact. This is, he's just shredding, and it's something around that. So it'd be like, it's roughly that. So another one of those chromatic rips down, but I think it's about 2 frets apart. It's kind of a hard one to decode, but something around there. So you're ending up 1 and 2 on the G, and then 4, 2 on the D, but you're ending on that 4th fret of the D. So again, something like this. Try one more time. Something around that. You might have better luck than me if you listen to it, but that's roughly what it is. What's next is what I think is the most memorable lick of this outro solo, which is this one. Okay, so that's 7, 9 on the A, 7, 9 on the G, 7, 9 on the E. Go off to the open E, and then 7, 9 on the G again. And then we do hammer and pull off from the 7 to the 9 on the G. Slide down to the 6th, and then do 7, D on the 9, 6, 7 again, and then 9, 6, and then 7, 9. So it's really slow. And then you have 7 on the G, 9, and bend up, and then tap on the 21st, and crank it up. Pull off, and back to the 9 and release it, and then back to the 7. So like this. So up to that point we have. to the 12th fret on the B string and do a dive bomb. So, and pull off to the 10th fret and give it some cranks. So it'd be like, then slide down to the 7, and then we're going to do 9th fret, a half step bend, and then tap on the 21st, above the 21st fret, right over the middle fret. So it's, and then as it's fading out, you can hear in the background it has this. So that's 9 on the A, which is 7 on the B, 9, 7, 6 on the G, and then 7, 9 on the D. And then it goes 7 on the D, 7 on the A, 5, 4, and then on the E string, 5 to 7. So. And after that note, you just can't hear anything more. So I usually use whammy. So like, and that's it. That's the end of the outro.